Welcome back to episode 13 of AyyScare Plays Front Office Football 8, Season 2. In case you missed the last episode, you might want to go back and watch it because we had a great season. We made it into the Super Bowl, but we lost the Super Bowl. So we are going for it again this season. So quick recap in terms of last episode. Our offense was very middle of the pack, but our defense, once again, just came in clutch for us. I mean, we had basically the best defense across the board. Our offense over here, if you see, we were 15th in rushing, 14th in passing. So that basically puts us directly in the middle of the pack. Our quarterback went through his second season, and he played decently. He definitely didn't knock it out of the park, but for a second-year quarterback, I think he did very well and held his weight. So that is going to be taking us into our next season here, which we have a couple things going on. First, all of our offensive weapons are getting up there in age. If we sort it this way instead, Herb Carpenter is still very highly rated, played very well last year. However, he started in the league at 21, and he's going to be going on 27 this year, so he should still hopefully have another, hopefully 2 to 3 good seasons left, and then we'll see kind of how long he sticks around after that. We don't really have a great tight end right now, and then wide receivers, we're kind of middle of the pack. We still have Jalen, but he's going to be 30 this season. So he will also kind of be up there in age. Normally, kind of like that 30 mark is where it gets a little iffy for wide receivers. So the good news is that both of them are still very highly rated in terms of their bars. However, those bars change. So, it's definitely possible that we see one of them plummet going into this season. Our defense, especially our front seven, although if you look here, we don't have a single starting defender under a 50, which is nuts. But if we sort it this way again, you'll see our front, especially our front 3 or 4, we're absolutely stacked on right now, and they're all super young. Our running back or our linebackers are a little bit more of a mixed bag, but we still have very good ratings there overall, especially for our starters. And then our secondary again is a little bit of a mixed bag, but overall, this is probably one of the best rosters I've had in Front Office Football 8. So, really can't complain. Other thing, let's just take a quick look. We might lose a couple people to retirement. Wayne Lee could definitely retire this year. Although he had a decent season last year. So, hopefully he sticks around for one more year for us. But we should have some money to mess with. Main thing that I'm concerned about that we're going to see here in a moment is if we sort this way, we have a lot of players that, and as a reminder, that this contract is going to drop by 1. So all the 2s are going to be 1s, etc. And we have a lot of players in here that are going to require signings in the next 2 seasons. We're not going to be able to keep them all, especially because I assume Devin Holmberg, if we still think that he's the guy to move forward with, he will probably ask for a deal-breaking contract just based on how his first 2 seasons have gone. So we'll see how it all pans out. Let's go ahead, jump in. Yeah, look at those. Those are beautiful. All right. Not planning to make any changes to coaching, especially since we made it to the bowl, but let's take a quick look anyway. Nope, our head coach is still top. Offensive coordinator is not near the top, but this is the same thing that we ran into, I think it was last season. Even though he's 15 points below, he's the only one with a primary on QB, and with a young QB, I don't know how much that plays into the game, like this game is a lot of small stats that kind of stack on top of each other and you hope that they all stack in the right way for you, basically. So like for me, it does worry me that he's, 16 points lower than our top option, but he's the only one actually on this entire front page that has a primary of QB. So, I'm going to keep him around mainly because I want to be able to continue working with our young quarterback and make sure that he develops as well as he can. So our defensive coordinator, we're keeping him. You really can't complain when your defensive coordinator runs basically a top defense almost every single season for us. It looks like this guy could be upgraded slightly, but I'm going to keep our guy here. And then strength coordinator. They're almost pure opposites in terms of their bars. I don't think we had a single big name player go on IR last season, so let's keep this as is. All right. Set those prices. Okay, so instant problem potential. We are going to be going into free agency here. Before re-signing anyone, we're at 40 million, which is very low. Okay, let's say Wayne Lee is going to stick it out another season with us. So this basically brings up the question of, are there players that we need to cut? Because as an example, right, this guy we're going to need to give a contract to, especially if we plan to keep him. So like, what do we do with him? All these 2-year players, some of them might give us a team deal, but when you come off of a bowl game, you are normally having players asking for more money. So this is going to be a very interesting offseason. See, I feel like it might be, I'm not planning to cut any of these young guys, but I feel like, right, so Grayson Lorenz here. We last season drafted Hunter Porter, who's only, a couple points in terms of at least future estimate lower. So that could at least push out the left defensive end contract a little bit. It's really nice that we had all these really good defensive ends, though, because our rush defense and pass defense last season was off the charts. I'm just looking here in terms of, let's look at it this way instead. All right, this guy had an unbelievably good season. He had 52 tackles, 4 interceptions, and he had over an 82% pass defended rate. So like, even though he's the top paid player on our team right now, I really can't lose him. Let's see, left tackle played very well for us. Don't want to lose him. Okay, Donnie Pasco is an interesting situation, mainly because other players on the team don't like him. And as I mentioned before, there are just a bunch of smaller things that all kind of combine into one another. And so you'll see that all of these conflicts that we have on defense are with Donnie Pasco. And last season, this guy actually isn't. He's Pete. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. So actually the only one that we really have is this guy with the extreme conflict. But extreme conflict you really don't want. And Courtney Brody here did put up a very good season last year. Again, I don't feel like it's worth cutting him, but we could look at trading him again. Herb Carpenter, I do feel like we're overpaying him a little bit. He's never rushed for 1,000 yards, but he does put up, very consistent numbers for us. And he also helps in our passing game a bit. Our offensive line's really good. We have a second tackle here. I might go ahead and cut this guy to try to save us some money. Because we have the other guys planning to be our starter. Yeah, we'll go ahead and actually cut this guy. Alright, and then Sebastian Slaughter played really well at least 2 seasons ago. He played very well for us again. Kim Hickman is probably one that we can cut. How much are we paying them? It'll save us about $10 million. Okay, we'll do it. Actually, this is their final season. They were our wide receiver 3 last season. Let's go ahead and cut them. Okay. Alright, we made a few cuts. That's going to be another problem. Donnie Pasco is sitting at 100% fan popularity. And he played pretty well last season, right? Yeah, he put up 70 tackles, 8 sacks, number of hurries, and quarterback knockdowns. So if a team doesn't show interest in him, maybe we try trading Courtney Brody, because a team will definitely be interested in this guy. How did he do in playoffs? He did decently. Not fantastically, but he did alright. Alright. We'll look into that shortly. Alright. First things first. Is there any really high player listed here? Got 2 tackles, an outside linebacker, quarterback. Okay. There's actually a pretty good list of players like above like 5.5 or so. I normally look at like 6 plus, and there are at least a couple of options here. Okay. See if we can figure out this situation. So, who in here do we absolutely need to re-sign right now? See what this guy's asking for. Yeah, it's way too much, especially with how stacked our defensive line is. Gotta look at Blue Book, franchise player salaries. Alright, so what the hell was this guy asking for? Up to $65 million. That's a groundbreaking deal. So this is a player that I am going to see if I can trade. Not sure I want to actually trade him, but considering we have another decent left defensive end and we have 2 right defensive ends, and like our front line is so stacked right now that I would rather see if I could flip this guy for like a first round pick than like keep him on for an additional season. So let's take a quick look-see at that. Grayson Lorenz, let's take a look at this. Okay, we're going to get a couple windows here going. So who needs a defensive end right now? Cincinnati is the team that needs it most. So let's see where they are in terms of draft picks. They're really high draft picks, which means like they're not going to trade away their 3rd round pick for this guy. I shouldn't say that. I've never actually attempted this, so let's try it real quick. I also don't even know if they're going to be interested in him. Let's see. All right, they claim they're interested. Let's see if they'll get their 3rd overall. There's no way. Yeah. I could potentially do something like that. No. Okay. Oh, that answers that question. I think realistically, I would probably get a late first for this guy. They might give me their 2nd, so 204. Okay, I'm going to keep that in my back pocket. Because that's not a bad deal for me, to be quite honest. Who were the other teams that were so interested? Dallas, Philly. Okay, let's get them. Dallas. They have a really high pick. Philly. So something like this. This is where I could see flipping him for something like this. Let's do it. I'm not going to pay him what he's asking for. So let's see if we can get another young thing on our team. Let's see if we can get anything slightly better with it, though. I'll include my 6th. Let's see if they'll also give us their 4th. Okay. Sounds good to me. All right. So that got rid of one contract that we were potentially facing. Let's also look around with Courtney Brody and Donnie Pasco. So I don't think a team's going to take Donnie Pasco. I think he's too old at this point and his contract is too big. Yep. That being said, I'm happy with him. So let's see about this guy. All right, so Green Bay, what's the asterisk mean? Go over salary. Okay, so Green Bay probably won't take him then. Let's look at New Jersey. All right, I got this guy where? I think it was like a 5th round pick. Yeah, it was 5th round pick 2. So even if I could flip this guy for like a 3rd round pick, I would be pumped. See if they'll give us a 2nd round pick though. Ooh, they said they were very close on that. That's actually surprising. Okay. I will give you I'll give you him and my later 4th round pick. Okay. And I'll include my 5th round pick. Oh, I'm scared that I'm going to make too many offers and then they're going to say no. I would give away a 3rd. I would much rather have 203 than 331. So, okay. Yep, I will take that. So that gets rid of one of the conflicts that we have going. So there's one other strong conflict. Oh, this guy also hates Donnie Pasco. Okay. So, Butch Evans. That's going to be another player on our front line. But I really cannot have a strong conflict. So let's also look at him real quick. Butch Evans. All right, we got players interested or teams interested again. Let's look at Jacksonville Cougars. That's who we played in our first run of all this. Let's see. Oops, that's not where I want to go. To go here. All right, where did I get this guy? He was a 4th round pick. Let's see if I can do another thing where like I get another. What I'll do is I'll give him and my late 2nd for their high 2nd. What's this guy's overall rating again? It's sort of 70. Okay, wait, let me think about this. That might be a little bit too much. I'll give my 2 4th round picks for that. Okay, I think that's a better deal for me. All right. All right, and then apparently... Oh, wait, now I'm looking at a different team. I was about to say, okay, now we got another strong conflict. What the hell? Okay. All right, these guys don't like Pete Walters, who is this wide receiver. Let's see if we can get rid of him. We're trying to figure out... wait, who does he have a problem with? Okay, yeah, he's Pete Walker's Or Waters 2. Kansas City. Let's see if... I'm not expecting much from this guy. He did have a decent year, though. So he was a second-round pick last year. So he has 2 back-to-back years at about 700 yards. And he's a receiving leader. So, let's see. Look at all these second-round picks we now have. I would love to be able to trade like this for this. All right, not very close. Okay. Yeah, that's definitely me reaching. I would be willing to give away 2 of these second rounders for that, because then I would have 4 picks that are almost all back to back. That could be a really good way to haul this team with young talent. I'm going to try that, actually. Okay, they're having money issues. Let's look at another team then. I was actually hoping for that because, as I said, that would be 4 teams already back to back. All right, we'll check Seattle. All right, let's just see if they'll do something like him, and I'll take their 3rd round pick. Very close to an offer. Okay, well, these are on about the same page then. I'll include my 7th and 5th round picks. Then I want your 2nd round pick. All right. Switch that back to your 3rd round pick. Pete Walters. We'll see one other team. Buffalo, that was possibly interested. Here, they're getting the player. They're only trading back 11 picks. A little bit more. Okay, I'll include my 7th round. Okay, I'll include my 5th round. Man, you're only trading back 11 picks. You gotta be kidding me. All right, is there somebody else that they want? They want... Well, Ty Linguist, he's not really worth it. Jimmy Rubio, he actually likes Pete Walters. Okay, yeah. We'll give you him and Jimmy Rubio. Man, okay. I feel like I gotta get a deal done here because I don't want this guy on my team, though. There's really not much else I can offer these guys. I guess I would trade him directly for a 3rd round. Trade him directly for their high 4th. Man, I went from a 2nd round pick to a 4th round pick. That means that your 4th round pick wasn't extremely fair. I just want something for this guy. I'll take their high 6th. Okay. All right. That's fine. All right. We only have 1 remaining conflict. It's this guy who has done well for us. Gustavo Bulayas. Let's also shop him then. Pittsburgh is the team that is super interested. This guy was undrafted, so really anything that we get for him is going to be okay. Let's see if we can get there. How well did this guy do? 2 back-to-back seasons, 50 tackles, 1 interception, about an 80% pass defended rate. Okay. I think that I can ask for a 3rd. All right. I'll ask for a fourth. Okay. I'll include my fifth. All right, cool. All right, we just made a number of hauls that should help our chemistry, that opened up some money for us. I think I'm actually happy with what just transpired, I think. But we'll see how that pans out. All right, now we can deal with our deals here. Let's see. All right. Let's see if Vince Collins will negotiate a team deal or not. Oh, that is still super, super expensive. But he is also playing really freaking well. Let's sit on that one for now. That guy's still on a rookie deal for a season. Donnie Pasco, now that we've traded away everybody that hates him. Cool, that is overall a bit of a savings for us, and it extends him a year. Sounds good to me. Jalen here. He's asking, I mean, his bars make him look like a somewhere around like a 10th wide receiver, but he's really never performed all that well. I don't want to make that deal. Herb Carpenter, that's really expensive going into, that would take him to age 30. That actually might not be a terrible deal. How much longer is he has this year and next year? Okay, we'll keep him on that. Young. Although I wonder if we try to sign these guys now, if they'll sign cheap or not. That might be a good deal for us, honestly. But we're going to wait until next season for him. Let's see if this guy will do something like that, though. That actually is not a bad deal. And that's a 5-year deal. Cool, we'll lock him in. All right, another defensive tackle here. This guy is super cheap, so perfect. Wayne Lee will almost certainly retire after this season. Oh, look at that team deal he's given us. All right, you got it, man. All right. After that, Sebastian Slaughter has been playing really well. That's a good deal for us. We'll continue with that. Alexis Brady has been playing really well. I like that extension. All right. This guy hasn't been playing all that well, but I think that his bars and stuff indicate that we should keep him, especially since we just got rid of one or two other guys here. We'll extend this inside linebacker since we got rid of the other one. Wow, this dude played his heart out last season. What the hell? 22 tackles, 5 interceptions. He almost had a 90% pass defended rate. He'll be on the roster. All right. Right. It's a single 7 digit. All right. We're going to have contract problems next season. See if we can figure out one or two more of these real quick. All right, that's a decent team deal. Yeah, go ahead and extend him. I will save that contract. So in 3 episodes, we're going to have a problem with these 3 all going off at the same time. But we'll figure that out when the time comes. See if this guy will extend with us now. He hasn't done much. Okay, cool. He'll extend another year with us, keeping that deal pretty cheap. Okay, I'm feeling a little bit better now about this situation. We'll have to see how Devin Holmberg goes. He might be somebody that we end up franchising, depending on how he plays here. That'll be in 2 episodes, though. All right. Sounds good to me. Now, we don't really have all that much money to mess with here. Now we've gotten rid of a couple players here. What do we really need? Just look at the top here. Still offensive weapon would be awesome to add in. Another good linebacker would be awesome. Another highly rated corner would be good. Game says defensive tackle is the main thing that we need, which makes sense because we did get rid of the 1. We still have 2 in here that are decent, but all right. All right. We're not going to be able to afford anybody really here. We might be able to go for this corner. He didn't really play all that well last season. See what he asks for. He was a 5th overall pick. He's going to ask for something stupid. But if we don't go for him, not super excited about that guy. Ooh, Mario Walker here. Although he's recovering from something closely. Ooh, a very serious quad injury. Okay. That definitely throws a little bit of an anchor in terms of what to expect from him. But we'll see. All right. We finished our signings. All right, so stage 2 here. Realistically, I think this corner would probably be the best option for us. That actually is not a bad asking at all. Let's bump up what he's going to get in bonus. And we'll increase these slightly. So 15, 19, 23, 25. Let me real quick. So let's bring this down a little bit. 7.5. That would make this one 20. And then 22.5. Okay, wait a second. Disappointment. Everybody else is excited about it. Only thing here is that it's Slaughter that's expressed disappointment. I don't want to mess with Slaughter because he has played extremely well for us. So that then opens the door for this guy. I'm really not a fan of this guy's bars, and he really hasn't done much in the league. Only thing that I can say is he must be offering a very good deal. He is. And this would give us a 3rd defensive tackle in that 50 to 60 range, which should be enough that I would at least feel comfortable going into the season with it. So we'll increase his bonus a little bit. Oh, Pasco's actually happy about him. All right. Whenever my players are overall happy about somebody potentially signing, I will do my best to make sure that we get them. That's a complete shot in the dark in terms of what he's going to be actually getting. So we basically offered 32 for 3 years. And we got him. Okay. Mario Walker is a complete shot in the dark because he's coming back from an IR injury. He's asking for a lot of money. I'm worried that these bars are going to plummet come beginning of the season. So I don't want to lock into that. I'm going to skip that. A backup tackle would actually be something that we could really use. This guy has not played all that much, so he could be a really good option for us. And he's not asking for much, so let's do our thing here. That'd be a really good tackle addition. And we got him. Sweet. Okay. I don't think I want to save some money for late free agency. And we have a number of high draft picks, so we need some money for signing them. So let's get into draft mode. All right, now as a reminder, we have draft picks 30 and 31, so you have 2 back-to-back. We then have 203, 213, 231, and then we have 3 in the second half of the draft. But we really need to try to nail 5 picks here. If we can nail 5 picks, all right, let's be more realistic. If we can nail 3 of these, in terms of rookies that are coming in to start for us or something like that, we could be in really, really good shape for this episode and next episode and etc. So let's try to figure out players that we would probably have a realistic shot at. Inevitably, somebody up here is going to drop to where we're looking. No idea what that person's going to be. So I'm going to scroll down and look closer in this range. So we could potentially get something like the second wide receiver on the board. This guy is definitely a little bit of a different build than we're used to having. All of our wide receivers last season were over 6 feet tall, over 200 pounds. This guy's exactly 6 foot and 193. His bench press or strength score is not great, but his other things are really good. So, I don't know. I feel like this guy, if I had to compare what I see here to somebody in the league, I would think of somebody maybe like a Hollywood Brown, which could be a very good ad for our team. So let's go ahead and interview him. Okay, he's considered he's considered hard to read, but that is an interesting option. I'm not sure if he'll fall. He's second wide receiver on the board, so chances are he'll get picked up, but I'm still going to mark him. One thing I did notice is up here there's a lot of running backs. It's pretty rare for 5 running backs to go in the first round, so we might have a shot at one of these 3. It might be worth at least looking at them. Not a huge fan of those bars. Those bars are at least a little bit better, but he's not a passing back at all. Very, very interesting. I'll leave it at that. This is a pretty small running back, though. He's 5'6", 214 pounds. I'll still interview him, though. Yeah, okay. Not too pumped about him, but I'm still going to mark him. With those later picks, he could be an interesting option. Okay, I'm going to mark that guy as a blue. Okay. Back down here, there are a ton of offensive line, which, in terms of starting, we really don't need. But, as we mentioned up here, these guys are all going to require contracts. So, if we can get a guy that takes a year or 2 to develop, it could play in our favor. Like this guy, right? He's only 5% developed, but overall looks really good. They're very overrated, though. All right, well, that didn't play in our favor. Let's keep looking here. That's 20%. Here's a 13% developed. Not a huge fan of those 2. The other 2 are really nice, but all right. We got the other corner, right? We did. Both of our corners are a little bit older, though, so maybe going somebody like this could be a good addition for us. He's considered overrated, but his bars remained pretty high. I'm going to go ahead and mark him as a red. Inside linebacker, that's top inside linebacker. He's not going to be there when it gets to us. Let's see here. This outside linebacker could be interesting. He would play the same position as Donnie Pasco, though. Then we have Sebastian Burrows, who's decent. Okay. That's an interesting player. I'll just leave it at that. This guy, his combine is off the charts. And he's considered underrated. He's interesting. We don't need a guard, I would say. But again, we can find ways to save money in the coming seasons. It would be good. I think what we really need to do with our last picks here is look directly, probably at wide receiver and tight end, and see what we might be able to get. Because getting another offensive weapon is really a key, in my opinion. So let's take a look here. That guy looks very interesting. Another guy, this guy's very interesting to me. I really like his overall bars. He's a small wide receiver, though. He's 5'8", 189. There's actually a number of decent options here. Even down here, like, those bars are pretty decent. Okay. All right. I think right there might be kind of the drop off. That guy doesn't look bad either, though. And then down here we got this guy who didn't participate. Doesn't look all that great, but okay. And then before we interview, let's look at these tight ends real quick. That is an interesting tight end. I feel like we should interview at least. Not him. Maybe that guy. Let's interview this guy. Very underrated. He's only 8% developed, though. That's something to keep in mind if we're looking for somebody to step in here season 1. And let's look at this guy. Considered overrated. Okay. All right, now let's go back to wideout. And let's try our best to pick the 2 best guys here. So this guy's already 20% developed. Very decent numbers. He's a smaller but decent size. He's 21, which is big because I think some of these guys get up to like 24. This guy is... The only thing that worries me about this guy is his size. He's 5'8", 189. That being said, he has a higher strength score than the other top 5. And his combine looks decent. His development is also decent. Maybe we'll just interview both of them. I think we should probably. I'm not a huge fan of this guy's bars. Although he's really good at avoiding drops, which is something that I personally really like. That's one of the things that worries me about this guy. Just drops annoy the hell out of me in the game and in real life. So, like, all right. I think that we stand a realistic shot of really getting any of these guys, especially with those 2 late first rounders and early second rounder. So I think that we just need to interview 2 of them that are of most interest. I think this guy is of interest to me because his route running is ridiculous. I think really all these bars are nuts besides avoid drops. So let's just give him a shot. Okay. Again, a little bit worried about the size, a little bit worried about the drop situation, but other than that, very promising. Man, I feel like those 2 are pretty decent options. Yeah, I feel like all these guys. I keep going back and forth. I mean, I feel like all of these guys are very decent options. So we'll just do the third highest on the board since he's most likely to go. All right. We have 3 wide receivers that we're interested in. Hopefully they don't all go before our picks. Let's go ahead. Get to it. Righties. Start this thing on fast. See first couple picks. New York goes top wide receiver. Ooh, that is not helpful for our situation, but all right. Quarterback. Running back. Trade to Philly. I think Philly wanted a defensive end, if I remember correctly. They went corner. Wow, top player on the board is still sitting there. Ooh. I'm going to sit here and watch this just to see how far this guy falls. Top player still on the board at pick 8. Okay, there's 2 wide receivers in the top 8. That does not bode well for us. New Jersey. What is happening right now? There wasn't a defensive end taken in the top 12 picks. Top player of the draft. Defensive end is still sitting there. 3 wide receivers have gone. That completely screws our strategy. Okay, I'm going to just keep this first round like this because this is crazy to me. All right. Wow. There he finally went at pick 18. Tennessee probably just got a complete steal. That's one of those things where if I was pick 101 and I need it, like somebody on the defensive front, I didn't interview the guy, so maybe he was completely overrated or something, but that's pretty crazy to me. All right, our pick is coming up. I think right now one of the wide receivers is still available. I think it's the smaller guy, if I remember correctly. We'll figure that out shortly. Oh, there's one of the tight ends that I was interested in. Corner. Final pick before us goes tackle. All right. So we have 2 back-to-back picks. We got to keep that in mind. And then we have another pick in like 3 picks after that. So, wide receivers. Only one of the guys that we interviewed is still remaining. And it's actually not the small, like 5'8" guy. It's Henry Jones, who was considered very underrated. And we do really need a wide receiver. His bars are not spectacular, but I think that he's at least a decent ad. And the things that we know our team considers him very underrated. This guy's bars theoretically look better, but we don't know really the first thing about the guy. So let's go ahead and lock in Henry Jones. Now we're up again, and we have the option of the running back. Herb Carpenter, we still have. Herb Carpenter has always been a share back, though, and the other 2 running backs we have are not fantastic. So that guy's at least of interest. This guard, I think we could probably find better than him. They're both considered overrated too, or this guy's considered underrated. But his bars are not as high as I would like. Okay, I think that we go the running back here. He's the only guy that we have marked. The other option would be we could go top on the board, which, not gonna lie, like those bars look pretty decent. This guy fits into our scheme a little bit better, though. Okay, we're taking the running back. Although, I'm looking at his bars again. From what I know, hole recognition matters a lot for running back. This running back's also 24. He's small. I'm actually going to skip on him. Okay, that completely just changed my path of thinking here. What the hell do we do then? A lot of the players I marked ended up going like 5 picks before us. This guy's going to be a reach right now. I should be able to get him at least at my next pick. Do we just go top player? I think that might be what we should do. Because we did lose one of our defensive ends. He was one of the guys that we traded. So, all right, we're going for it. I'm going to keep it on the slower one until our next pick, just for anticipation. Detroit traded for this pick to go outside linebacker. Kansas City goes wide out. New York goes the running back. All right. I think here I am going to... This might be a little bit of a reach on this guy, but his bars look very good. He's considered very underrated. Let's go ahead and lock him into our team and hope he pans out. All right. We are back up. And could go defensive end or defensive front again. I mean, these defensive fronts are very valid looking players just based on bars. Look, here's the rookie defensive end. He's already showing in here. A wide receiver is not looking great after the draft, but we'll see how that pans out. Considering how low he is, I actually might look at some of the other wide receivers right now. Let's look at some of these guys. Bars overall are decent. Smaller but decent size. High strength rating, already pretty developed. I'm going to mark him as a maybe. Ricky Kelly here is also honestly pretty interesting to me. Fits the same size of our other wideouts. Already 50% developed. I'm going to mark him. Alright. I don't want to go too far down here because I feel like these are really our options. I think... Compare these guys. Okay, I can. Route running is a little bit... They're so close, to be honest. I think that Ricky Kelly's size is going to be a little bit more beneficial, so I'm going to go Ricky Kelly. Oh no, and then if Demetrius Hayes is still there at my next pick, I might take him. Nope, okay, he went. Alright. Alright, so we've added a number of potential weapons and a new defensive end. Cool. Let's grab a defensive lineman, like a nose tackle here. We'll take this guy. He's a little bit more developed, which means he should be able to slot in for us if needed. All right. Now I guess the question really becomes is, are there any specific things that we need? Outside linebacker, corner are really the two things that we really need to solidify our team. So outside linebacker and corner. Linebackers you can tend to get relatively late in the draft. So let me look for the best corners remaining. That guy's bars actually don't look half bad. Okay. Let's go with this guy just because his bars looked a little bit better. And then we'll look at outside linebacker. All right, we're just going to go basically top remaining here. Looks pretty good to me. Now we have basically free reign if we even have a 7th round pick. I don't know if we do. Okay, yeah, we do. Well, at this point, I'm just going to basically take a top remaining, which is going to be one of these guys. I mean, pass rush technique is ridiculously high on this guy, so sure, why not? All right, big question. How did that draft pan out? Or at least how does it look like it panned out? Defensive end is up there. Tight end and outside linebacker are both currently hoping to get to 60. That late defensive end hoping to get to a 57. The defensive tackle, wide receiver down there are both. I mean, this is looking like a pretty decent draft, honestly. Lowest player we drafted is slotted to hopefully become a 49. Again, those numbers will change, but that's looking like a very decent draft. All right. I think we needed a long snapper. Yeah, we do. Long snapper, and then anybody that fell through the draft. We don't have much money, though. Just not what I meant to click. All right. I might go ahead and go for a kicker. How did our kicker do last season? Kicker is something that I personally care a lot about, but he actually did pretty well. He didn't kick anything from that far away, but he was overall very reliable. So maybe I won't worry about that right now. This kicker's bars look really freaking nice, though. Now I'm gonna not worry about that. This as a potential blocking tight end looks very nice. And then what else do we have here? Let's sort it this way. Free safety, potentially in case Wayne Lee retires. All right, now we just need our long snapper. Let's go, team. Let's go. Offer your pendant. Oh, we got the tight end. Sweet. We got the other two. All right. We got next to no money, but we're going for hopefully another playoff run. So let's hope our quarterback steps up. No serious injuries. In case I didn't say it earlier, that's one of the things that really helped us out last season in terms of being able to make the bowl is we really lost nobody to IR. So, oh no. Is there a way for me to change this? There we go. All right. Alrighty. Let's get this thing started. We start out with the L before we jump into next season or next week here. Just take a quick look. Devin Holmberg, his ratings ranked up quite a bit. I think we're facing a couple of injuries based on who we have starting. Yeah, so this tackle, he'll be back in a couple of weeks. Then one of our Sebastian Burrows is herniated disc. Okay. All right. Nobody's out on like season-long IR though. So let's see how these next couple of weeks shape out. Sim until week 4, or I guess until 5. We'll play through 4 weeks. All right. We took the W on Arizona. Here we go against Baltimore. They took us there. All right, Indianapolis took us there. All right, let's take a quick look at what's happening here. Looks like Jalen might have gotten hurt. He did. MCL damage to the knee. That's not a good situation for us. All right. Okay. We are facing a couple of injuries that are a little bit more serious. All right, let's look at this. Our running game is doing very solid so far. Our passing game is all over the place, which is not a bad thing, but you can see Jalen was our top wideout up until this week, and he is out for probably potentially to the point that we're going to know if we're in playoffs or not. So that's not a good situation for us. And our defense also seems to be struggling a little bit. We'll see. Our defense always has kind of come in strong in the second half of the season. So hopefully we'll see these numbers get back to what we've been seeing. All right, we're going into our bye week, and then we'll get to the trade deadline, see how things are looking. All right, we're the Monday night game here against Tennessee. Wow, we took the L there, and we lost 31-30. Oof. All right. Here we're going against Houston. We lost 15-9. And let's pause for a second again. I think our offensive weapon situation is the problem. I'm not saying it's the only problem, but just like looking here, you're like, okay, our really good, very good quarterback really does not have a weapon since, our main wide receiver got injured. Yeah. All right, let's take a quick look at something. Oh, there's just, I really have no money though. Yeah, really no like decent wide receiver on free agency at this point, which makes perfect sense. One other thing we could try doing is doing a mid-season trade to another team, but as we've seen, I think it was last episode or the episode before, this tends to not go all that well. So let's give it a shot, though. Green Bay, Tampa Bay would be teams of interest. Let's look at it through here. No. Tampa Bay. Nope, they're actually in probably a little bit of a better situation than us, but very similar where they are not playing well and they don't really have a good wide receiver. Let me just do this real quick. Again, I'm hoping to find a team that has like hopefully 3 good wide receivers, so they would potentially give one away. But their guy's injured. Chicago. Both of them are super young, though. They're not going to trade them. Okay, here is a team of interest, Cincinnati. So, like, would they be willing to get rid of this old wide receiver here? I think there's a chance that they might. He's a Cincinnati long hauler, though. Exceptional affinity to somebody. He's 33. He's a pretty hefty contract. Well, I think we have a better chance of getting him compared to these two guys. How is this guy so highly rated? His bars don't look all that great. He also has a strong conflict. So, this guy might be a better guy to try to target. I don't know if he's all that great, though. That's the only thing that's a little bit worrisome to me. If we're just looking at estimates, though, he would be an upgrade on what we have. Let's try this real quick. Cincinnati. Would they get rid of Darius Wilkins? Let's start with that question. Dude's 33. I would give you my second round pick next season. Okay. That means that they're going to feel the same way about Bryant Heap, which means Troy Betchel is really the only potential option that we would be willing to take. What? This guy's a 5th round pick. All right, I'll give you a 4th round pick for him. Oh, he's considered a fan favorite. Okay, well, that explains that. All right, let's keep it rolling. Looks like we're going to have a down year, but maybe we'll come back here. Like, even though we're 1-5, we're still favorites by 2 points over this 4-2 team. So let's see what happens. All right, we took a W. Here we go against Jacksonville. Took a W there. Here we go against Kansas City. A tie. All right. See how things were looking. All right. It'll be interesting if we're still contenders when Jalen gets back in 2 weeks. All right. And looks like our quarterback is injured. He has a sprained ankle. That's not great. Our entire offensive line is basically cut up in some way. Hey, Holmberg has actually done really well this year, especially considering he doesn't have his top wide out. Somehow Carpenter has fumbled 4 times, which is concerning. Let's keep it rolling. Beat Las Vegas. That's a big W for us. Going up against San Fran. This is going to be another big week. They beat us. All right. Took the W there, and Jalen should be back now, which means our scoring will hopefully increase. All right. Oh, ruptured Achilles. Okay, he's done. All right, let's keep it rolling. Ooh, Las Vegas beat us. All right. All right. Wraps up the season. Can't imagine that we make playoffs at 7-8-1, but you never know. Here we go. I think big thing here is that we did not have a good offensive weapon for our quarterback. I think that is really now the biggest concern. Yep, we didn't make playoffs, so we'll go ahead and sim this out here. Miami and San Fran. Miami takes the W. All right. Save real quick. All right, let's take a quick look at kind of what happened here. So for one of the first times ever, our rushing attack was actually like top 10. And crazy enough, Herb Carpenter was not our top rusher. Did Herb Carpenter get injured? Hold up. What the hell? What happened to Herb Carpenter? Hold up. What the heck? I'm assuming our coaching staff cut him, but what happened? Here was all of our negotiations. Here we are in the regular season. Herb Carpenter got released. He got released after putting up 1,000 yards, 5 TDs. What happened? What? What is this? Okay, wait. What's my coaching staff doing? Did they cut him because of his contract? All that I can think is that that we decided that he was too expensive. That's the only thing that I can think of. If somebody in the comments has any ideas here, let me know. But that's the only thing that I can potentially think of. I know that he was one of our more expensive players, and maybe like looking at these guys, they did decently. I know that Herb also fumbled like at least 4 times. Where's fumbling in here? Is that under miscellaneous? He did fumble 4 times. I don't know if that played into it at all. It's weird though that he was literally having the best season he's ever had for us in terms of at least rushing yards. You never know. But all right, I don't know what really to say about that. All that I can assume is that his contract was too high, and as a result, we were getting good results with people that were paying like $2 million instead of $20 million. So that's all that I can think. Again, if anybody here has any thoughts on that, let me know in the comments. But definitely an unexpected releasing there. Outside of that, other thing, we did drop him like basically once we were already out of playoff contention. So I don't know. All right. Well, outside of that situation, I think really like we just did not have targets. Like our quarterback was mainly throwing to like rookies, right? Like, Jalen down here, ruptured Achilles tendon. He's 30. I don't know how well he's going to recover from that. So next season, find ourselves next wide receiver. I don't care if it comes from free agency or the draft, but that's what we're probably going to need to go for. Let's take a quick look at our team summary. Holmberg, for having no real offensive weapons, actually put up a very respectable season, so I'm happy about that. Looking in here, I don't know if anybody in here is going to be considered Pro Bowl worthy. The only one that looks like a maybe to me is Willis here, defensive end, 53 tackles, 4 sacks, 16 hurries. It doesn't sound good enough to me, to be quite honest. So I'm not sure if any of our players made Pro Bowl, but let's take a quick look. Offensive guard, we got first with Bo Jefferson here. So congrats to him. And that is it. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me in this episode. It was definitely a little bit of a down year for us. But I think as long as we can find ourselves a good weapon, I think that we are going to be good to make playoffs again next season. If you have any input on the whole Herb Carpenter situation in terms of what the AI was potentially thinking, please let me know in the comments. All that I can think is that it boiled down to contract, but let me know if you guys have thoughts. Thanks again for joining me, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Till then, AyyScare out.